Hi, I'm Satori Shakur, and here's what's coming up this week on One Detroit Arts and Culture. Back in the spring of 2021, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra aimed to have audiences back at Orchestra Hall in the fall. We talked to the DSO's Erik Ronmark to see how they were going to accomplish that feat. Then hip hop artist Deidre D.S on connection and music. Plus, Detroit filmmaker Legend Williams on his newly released movie Asbury Park. And a violin performance from the Sphinx competition. It's all coming up right now on One Detroit Arts and Culture.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program is provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV, the Kresge Foundation, Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Business Leaders for Michigan, dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, personal income, and a healthy economy. Also brought to you by the Fred A. and Barbara M. Erb Family Foundation, and viewers like you.
Hi, and welcome to One Detroit Arts and Culture. I'm Satori Shakur, happy to have you with me. Coming up, Christy McDonald talks with the DSO's Erik Ronmark about the 2021-22 season. Plus, Deidre D.S, Detroit hip-hop artist and activist, on new music and connection. Then, the movie Asbury Park by Detroit filmmaker Legend Williams. He tells Stephen Henderson how the film explores mental illness and police brutality. And it was all filmed here. And we'll end with a violin performance from the 2021 Sphinx competition. It's just ahead. Christy McDonald talked with the DSO's Erik Ronmark about their plans for more in-person performances. Let's see what they had to say back in the spring of 2021.
Give us an idea, Erik, of the conversations that have been going on recently behind the scenes that got you to make this decision and really this big announcement.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head there, Christy. Hope. Arts and culture, I think, is here to provide people with a sense of hope. And that has been on our minds since we started talking about what we could do this season even. We had a lot of conversation last summer about coming back and doing something in our hall, but we didn't know what we were going to be allowed to do, how this pandemic was going to affect us all. But working together with the musicians of the orchestra, we came up with a great plan, a safe plan to come back and do concerts even this season.
What is the DSO doing to make sure that things are as safe as possible?
As we slowly start to bring audiences in even this spring, and then hopefully coming back to the fall, we're going to follow all the safety procedures as we have during this season. We have great UV filtration in our HVAC systems, and we want to make sure, even to the point of electronic tickets, contactless entries and stuff like that. It's really important for us to be safe. And right now, we could have audiences up to 250 people per the guidelines that are out there now, and that's what we're hoping we can get to as we get later into the spring.
Rewind a year, DSO made the big announcement that Yada Binamini was going to be the music director, and a very exciting announcement at that. And then all of a sudden, the pandemic hits. So 21-22 will really be his first full season. Talk a little bit about the programming that is going involved in that and what audiences can expect to see.
Right, yeah, Yada has been a true champ in this. He actually has been here conducting already 2 times in the fall, and has come here and quarantined safely and conducted the orchestra in 3 different programs this fall, and we're going to see him again in May. And you're going to see a lot of different repertoire, a lot of diverse repertoire. Something that the DSO has always been a champion on is really promoting diverse artists. So out of the whole season, we're going to have a third of the composers next season are going to be living composers. Over 25% are going to be Black composers. And this is something that has been at the core of the DNA of the DSO for 40, 50 years. But we know we can always do more. So there's some great programs. We're going to have Branford Marsalis come here and play a saxophone concerto. We're going to open with the Sibelius Violin Concerto and large Italian repertoire. And you're going to see Beethoven 9.
With times of great trouble, sometimes we see great transition and great creativity come out of it. What do you think that we're going to be seeing musically in the next 5 years or so coming out of the pandemic, and just maybe some things that we haven't seen before, experienced before?
When you have the time to sit down and think about how do we want to be different, not just as the DSO, but as an industry. And I think the orchestral industry as a whole really, it's been a wake-up moment for us during this year as a pandemic, missing the audiences, but also the social unrest that we've seen in this country, and the focus on diverse composers, diverse artists. I think for us, that's something that we've always done, but we really want to do more. We really want to do more for Detroit, and not just Midtown where we are, but in the city as a whole.
How would you describe it, Erik, to people when they sit together and they consume music together?
Music is an art form that you experience in real time. And so when you come to Orchestra Hall, you and 2,000 of your closest friends are sharing that experience together. And once that concert is over, that experience is gone. No 2 performances are alike. So it is truly a shared experience that you are living in real time. And I think that's what's so unique about music.
For the DSO schedule and more, go to our website at onedetroitpbs.org. Last year was a long year for musicians who haven't been able to get close with audiences and fans because of COVID. But it hasn't stopped them from reaching out in new ways. Detroit hip-hop artist and activist Deidre D.S. created what she calls her Quarantine Concert Series. One Detroit's Will Glover has more.
To give people a little bit of sense as to who you are, what you've been doing, how long have you been artist musician in Detroit?
Close to 20 years, I would say. I started as a teenager hitting the open mic circuits, and I was essentially a vocalist. R&B, neo soul, that wave was big then. But I'd always been an MC at heart. And oddly enough, I was nominated for a Detroit Music Award for best R&B. And around that time, I was really itching to step into the waters of hip hop.
I guess it's just this need to just fit since it's intense. Been this way since I could grab mics. Why you wanna act like I ain't the best doing this?
And I'm more comfortable as a hip hop artist. So for the last 20 years or so, I've been really pushing that hip hop agenda.
Yes. The feeling is just incredible, don't you agree?
Your latest release is Cooper Street Chrysalis. First of all, tell us about the name of that album, Cooper Street Chrysalis. What brought that about?
Yeah, well, that's my homestead. I am a native Detroiter, an East Side girl, and that's where my family home is. Cooper Street is home to me. It always will be. My family was one of the first Black families to integrate into the neighborhood that was primarily Jewish and Italian at the time. Oh, wow. And so my roots run deep on the east side of Detroit.
Artists are always open to a challenge, to something new, to something changing, whether it be good or bad. There's a way for an artist to participate, to distill, to translate. And you did something recently with taking us through a walk in the park. So tell us a little bit about what that was and, you know, what got you to the point in wanting to put this out.
Much like the rest of the world, my world had gotten a little quieter. I'm naturally reclusive, a bit introverted. And so I really felt like this was the time to show the rest of the world how to operate in such quiet and stillness. I think that if you change your perspective about what this time is about and search for the silver lining, if you have the guts to, you'll find that this is an opportunity to reinvent yourself, to tap into those facets of yourself that was your plan B. And artists know all too well about plan Bs and being told to consider your plan B. Well, now plan Bs are at the forefront. Being an artist, I got up with my plan B self and I showed my audience how you can make lemonade out of lemon.
Embark on a whole new journey of love when we both feel worthy. Shucks, I blush when you say I'm pretty. No biggie, you blush when I say you're pretty. Yeah.
If you feel like you're in a place of despair, what better way to get yourself out of that than to take in the artistry of nature? Look around at the colors. Listen to the sounds of that first and foremost. And within that, you'll find something to draw on. You'll reinvent yourself eventually or come back to yourself. Whatever you need to do with self, you'll eventually do it if you get out in nature. And so those that were a little more reluctant to come out, I decided to come out. I decided to walk the streets. I decided to walk the park. Those that are in the fear of isolation, I decided to show them what isolation looks like when you choose to change your perspective. Isolation isn't loneliness. It's an opportunity to get to know yourself. And that's all I was doing. I was taking folks on a ride with me as I got to know myself. I reinvented myself. They were familiar with my long locks. And I had cut those and I cropped my hair. And I wanted to be just as naked and vulnerable as being a vocalist made me.
What is one of the things that you're looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to the alleviation of fear. I want to see those people that I've seen a certain amount of fear come over them. I want to see them free and certain again. I would put out little videos on Instagram and I would say, I can't wait to see you on the other side of this. Just to anybody who would, view the videos, I would always end it with, I can't wait to see you on the other side of this. I look forward to seeing you on the other side of this. And so I want to see those that make it on the other side of this along with me, and you will. I want to see you smile again. I want to see you confident again. I want to see you hug again. I want to see you kiss again. I want to see all those things that make us human again.
Let's check out the film Asbury Park, which is an actual street here in Detroit. The movie was created by local filmmaker Legend Williams, and it tells the story of 4 Detroit kids growing into adulthood, exploring challenges of mental illness and police brutality. Stephen Henderson talked with Williams on American Black Journal.
Let me ask you a question. What's the first thought that goes through your mind when the police rolls up on you? Where you running, huh?
Yeah, slow down, please.
I hope I don't get a ticket.
I hope that I make it home alive.
Quite frankly, I was in fear for my life. The suspect was non-compliant with our orders and was just obstructing our investigation.
So sick people on the funerals. The Civil Rights Act only resulted because of a nation of African Americans coming together and taking a stand.
You people think it's okay to break the law.
Those of us who are from Detroit or live in the area know that Asbury Park is a street on the west side. Is now the title of your film, but it's also where you're from. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I grew up on Asbury Park Street, right off 7 Mile.
So talk about the inspiration for this film, the street that you grew up on, the experiences that you had there.
The biggest thing behind this film is survival. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, each of the kids, they have their own different things that they're going through and dealing with. And I thought it would be interesting to see this from kids' perspective. You know, there are so many things that are going on in the world right now with police brutality, mental health awareness, you know, just a lot of different things. And as adults, we have a hard time grasping our heads around it and, you know, and dealing with it. So to be able to see this from a kid's perspective, I think is necessary.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a parent and I know, you know, as I watch the news and see the things that are going on, I know how I'm trying to deal with it and gravitate to it. And I think just as a community, we just have to do a better job of, you know, actually checking to see what's going on with our kids, to see how they're dealing with it, to see what they think about it. Because I think if we did that, I think we'll really be blown away by some of the responses that we get, because they're not stupid. They see what's going on.
Talk about the differences between what maybe you experienced as a kid growing up in that area and what your characters in the movie experience. Is there a big difference, or
to be honest, it's a direct reflection of what I experienced as a kid. Like, I grew up in a single parent home. My father left when I was 6 years old. And when that happened, I was no longer able to be a 6-year-old. I had to start moving. I always, you know, the running joke is when I was 6, I was actually 16, because the level of responsibility, you know, shifted. And I was no longer able to be a carefree kid to just sit back and say, hey, you know, everything is okay. There were certain things that I did to try to protect the house. You know, I was the kid who I'll pull out the toolbox and something needs to get fixed. You know, I'm doing that now. I'm checking the windows at night and looking out to make sure, you know, that my mom is protected and things like that. So I took on a much older persona than I actually was due to my circumstances. Yeah. And the reality is that's not uncommon. The drug dealing and the shooting, like, yeah, that happens. But I feel like this portion of it is often missed. Everybody is often, you know, trying to be tough and things like this. But what's often missed in those films is the vulnerability. I think one of my biggest motivations behind this film is my youngest son. I looked at him one day and I laughed and I was like, man, you're like really a 10-year-old. Because when I was 10, I had responsibilities. I had, you know what I mean? It was just a totally different animal. And to see him just be carefree, I wasn't able to be carefree as a kid.
So I wonder what message you think people who aren't from Detroit and who may not know anything about Asbury Park, the street, might take away from this. film. I'm always curious about how we project to everybody else from the city.
Asbury Park isn't even necessarily a Detroit story.
Right.
It actually takes place in the fictitious world of the inner city.
Yeah.
You know, because while it is relevant in Detroit, it's also relevant in Baltimore and St. Louis and, you know, just all over the country. But I think oftentimes, like when you're going through things, because you're dealing with it in real time, you don't stop and think, hey, somebody's dealing with it over here or someone's dealing with it over there. So for me, you know, like I said, is much bigger. And honestly, my goal and my hope is that people that are not from that environment will take a look and start asking questions, because I feel like that's how you evoke change.
Here, it's just a fight to breathe.
For more stories from American Black Journal and all of the arts and culture stories we're working on, go to onedetroitpbs.org. That'll do it for me this week, but we always like to leave you with a performance. The Sphinx competition is a national competition offering young African American and Latinx classical string players a chance for scholarship and mentorship. Their goal of increasing diversity in classical music has been going strong for over 20 years. So, we'll leave you with a performance from 2021 Sphinx Junior Division winner, violinist Amaryn Olmeda. Enjoy, and see you next week.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program is provided by the Cynthia and Edsel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV, the Kresge Foundation, Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Business Leaders for Michigan, dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, personal income, and a healthy economy. Also brought to you by the Fred A. and Barbara M. Erb Family Foundation and viewers like you.